in this universe on high. You are the living light in blissful skies. You are the love, pure and deep, treasures to share and to reap. Piercing clouds to heavens here. Cosmic gods you are this year. Light masters, gods, queens, and kings. Liberation is here. It's what we bring. Let's check out Yahweh's gang. This Yahweh, Jehovah. The fact that these Hebrews, these Jews, would spend so much detailed time deliberately writing all those lies which go in to make up the Torah, the Bible, the Pentateuch, and a host of other materials akin to them, illustrates just how treacherous these people are as a group, which is probably another reason why Yeshua agreed to incarnate here right on this battlefield of this galactic war. These devils control just about every aspect of Western devilization, which is why we of the Melchizedek order also incarnate here and put their asses into check. These Ibridus, who are the Anunnaki here in human form, calling themselves the Jews. We see and understand the frustrations and the pain. The heavily melanated African scientists embarked upon a project about 13,000 years ago when the stars in this solar system and galaxy were in a certain alignment. They wanted to prove to the high-ranking Syrian, vegan, and Pleiadian members of the Galactic Federation that their science was so great it could produce not just the millions or so ninth-dimensional humans from their pyramid schools as Christ beings, but by the time this university did complete its 225 million year rotation on December 21st, 2012, they could ascend a billion plus ninth dimensional Christ beings from planet Earth, the powerful female Lady Gaia, to prove that they could produce billions of Christ beings in this universe. We of the Galactic Federation, after thinking it over, agreed to partake in this project. First, the African scientists created a series of grids amounting to 1 million plus. Grids around the planet Earth's astral plane took some 11,000 years. Toward the end of the segment of this project, these African scientists requested a high-frequency, ninth-dimensional Christ being from the star system of Sirius B be sent to Earth as a twin soul. Volunteered for the mission and to take on this physical birth through one of the married couples of the Christ being ascended masters produced by the pyramid school in ancient Kemet. Would take place on 0 point of the Roman calendar by AD August 21st, the cusp of Leo and Virgo, representing the king and purity of the Virgin. a hidden cave in ancient Abyssinia, while the female side of the royal palace of the king and queen of Abyssinia. Both births were conducted simultaneously by the high scientists of the ascended masters of the pyramid school of Kemet, knowing that they would need pure gold which had never been touched by human hands in order to place it around the bodies of these new Christ beings from a ninth dimension. But this task was taken on and successfully completed by these ancient, magnificent black scientists from the pyramid school of ancient Kemet. After the birth took place, both infants were taken back to Egypt and raised in the pyramid schools as ninth-dimensional Christ beings. In their adulthood, they were married and they were returned to Abyssinia in order to birth their daughter, the brilliant ninth-dimensional Christ being known as Sarah, who was also taken back to the African Egyptian school and raised there until she was wedded to an ascended master. And their result was to prove through the beautiful Sarah that 100 generations of that divine Christ bloodline from YESHUAH ben Pandira and his wife could be passed down through the African bloodline from then until this very day. War between the Alpha Draconian reptilian forces who invaded Lyra, the first human colony in this galaxy, set up by the advanced black scientists from another galaxy, was and is still active to this very day. How do we steal this event? Was the thinking of this reptilian force coming out of Alpha Draconis and the constellation of Orion, which has been laid out by the ancient African Egyptians in the symbol of the pyramid and the passageways from the shafts on both the right and left side of the giant pyramid, telling the complete story in itself. The true Christ's identity, knowing that they had a multidimensional being on the planet with far greater powers than they could ever imagine. How was they going to steal the identity of this family and use it to their advantage was their primary thought and their primary objective. After pondering the project results, they decided that they would the identity of Christ by kicking the Jews to the curb and making the Romans their new chosen children, spoiling their plans to take over this planet Earth and to use it as a staging platform by which they could steal wars. The reptilians came up with the idea of stealing Christ's identity from the ignorant three-dimensional humans, changing the events of the story about the birth, and to steer its agendas, plans, making him celibate, a daughter. So they decided he would be birthed in Israel, a land which they controlled. Here is an example of what happened to those who refused to believe the lies the reptilian humanoids from the Leveron Federation made up for the ignorant humans of this planet.